afternoon, everyone. This is the George here, and it's another Sunday. Another week has gone by, which also means some movie news or toy news that ties into movie news has dropped because at least part of what we're going to be talking about today is kind of connected to that, particularly with the Spider Man stuff. But, anyways, so as you can tell by the stream, it's going to be Spider Man and Mando, or in this case, Mandalorian talk, with maybe a few other things in there as well. If you're new to this channel, if you can please subscribe if you want more content. I also do movie reviews as well on this channel. I haven't done a review since the Super Mario Galaxy movie, but that'll probably change soon as I figure out what I want to review next. Mandolorian and Grogu is coming out, so that's definitely going to be happening, but we'll talk about that later. Now, if you're an NBA fan, there's two Game 7s on tonight. We've got the Orlando and Detroit Pistons one, where we see if Orlando chokes their 3-1 lead or not. And then we got the Cleveland versus Toronto one, and we see if Cleveland is truly a title contender or not. We already got the Philadelphia 76ers versus the New York Knicks in round 2. That's going to be an interesting series because Boston lost last night. They choked their 3-1 lead. Quite interesting. Now, before we begin, I kind of want to show something that's funny before I get into the Spider-Man stuff, because if you watched episode 1 last week, you can check that out on replay. I was kind of dunking on My Time to Shine Hello because I don't like the scooping game. You know, I was fine with it at first, but now I don't like it anymore. But also, My Time to Shine Hello, I don't think they really know much. They really don't pay much attention. And there's just this funny thing that I came across on Twitter right before the stream. And I was like, oh, I got to share this, even though I wasn't planning on talking about My Time to Shine Hello. Although I'm kind of annoyed because they shamelessly posted what could be a spoiler for Doomsday. I'm not going to say what it is because it may or may not be. But it's just like when certain things happen in a movie, I feel like they should be meant to surprise the audience, meant to surprise the fans when you see it in theaters. And what they posted, whether it's true or not, it's just, if it's true, that should be a surprise in the theater. I did not see that coming moment. But we're not going to talk about the spoiler. We're going to talk about their lack of knowledge or lack of paying attention, because maybe they just don't pay attention, or maybe they forgot. So it's a Red. Oh my goodness, Red. And the duck says to the man, right? I love the duck song, by the way. It is a classic, and thank you for being here, Red. So this is about The Devil Wears Prada 2, and I guess the box office. Now, I didn't see the movie. I'm not planning on it. Not into these kind of movies. If you want to see it, go see it. But anyways, My Time to Shine Hello makes a comment saying The Devil Wears Prada is the only franchise where none of its leads are in the MCU. And then there's a community note that points out that Stanley Tucci, who stars in Devil Wears Prada, plays Dr. Abraham Erkenstein, sorry if I mispronounced that, in the MCU film Captain America the First Avenger. And I know it's been 15 years. It's going to be 15 years since Captain America the First Avenger. I know Stanley Tucci hasn't been in the MCU since because, spoiler alert, the movie's been out for 15 years. His character got killed off, but he was in that movie. And by the way, First Avenger is a very underrated MCU movie, just a very underrated movie in general. And some of the comments are simply reminding My Time to Shine Hello. And you're just going to let this post slide and not admit you're clearly wrong. See, that's the problem with My Time to Shine Hello. They don't admit that they're ever wrong. They never admit that maybe I shouldn't be saying these scoopers and be spoiling these movies, whether it's behind a paywall or not. But whatever. Whatever to them. Red keeps talking about the duck song, saying it's the greatest rage bait story told through a song of all time, and it's been in my head all morning. Okay, before I get into the Spider-Man stuff, since Red brought up the Duck song, I'm going to talk about the Duck song in my experience. In eighth grade, I'm pretty sure it was my English teacher. He showed us the Duck song. We were talking about comedy. Yeah, he showed us it, and I got hooked onto the Duck song right away. And I don't know, a few years ago, so at my job, I teach like a storytelling course in the summer. I discovered the Duck song again, and like as a treat to my summer students for doing a job well done this summer because they did a great job. I showed them the Duck song, and they enjoyed the Duck song, and it got stuck in my head. And oddly enough, I think it was that same Christmas that I think they released the Christmas version of the Duck song. I don't know. It just like it happened that following winter, that following Christmas. Now the Duck song, I want to listen to it after this stream. Thank you, Red. I definitely want to listen to the Duck song again. Dum bum 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 bum. If you have not seen the Duck song, go watch it. Speaking of which, Red, I'm about to give you. Let me see. I want to make you a mod, so. Red, I'm pretty sure I just made you a mod in the chat. It's been a while since I made someone a mod. Not that I need it. I mean, I used to need mods back in the day, but I feel like it's gonna be a while before, more and more people come into this chat because it's been a while. But just to be on the safe side, I used to have bots coming into my chat. I gave you the wrench for right now. I don't know about I usually give wrenches. I don't know what the premium or whatever big moderator is. I think that's new. That wasn't there. Everyone's got a wrench that's a mod. Oh, Twitch chat mods have a sword. Okay. But yeah, I used to get really bad bots in my chat. I remember there was someone pretending to be Zack Snyder and Sam Raimi in my chat. I remember like people putting like really inappropriate links. Really hated that. Okay, so let's get started. So we're gonna get started with Spider-Man Brand New Day because not leaks. Well, they are leaks, but it's not like scoops. It's more like leaks that the studio's okay with. See, I'm okay with the studio letting stuff out themselves, like what they feel comfortable revealing. I don't like the whole we're gonna leak this stuff out. We're gonna say what we know. I mean, Marvel's cracking down on leaked photos that they don't want out on their movies. Okay, I'll say this. Not all Zack Snyder fans are mentally deranged, but like some of them are. There's some that are. Like the really, really vocal ones. Here's the thing. The Snyder fandom, because I used to support the Snyder fandom, like it started off as good natured. And that's what got me into YouTube. Like my first video was talking about back in 2020 how excited I was for the Snyder Cut. I started making videos on a constant basis in 2021 before I got into reviewing and streaming. I was talking about the Snyder Cut. I was talking about how excited, and I, at one point, believe it or not, had a little bit of hope that maybe there could be some kind of continuation, at least with the versions of the characters. Maybe not Zack Snyder directing, but the versions of Henry Cavill's Superman, Ben Affleck, Batman. But some fans took it a step too far. They were demonizing others who said it wasn't going to happen. And that includes fellow Snyder fans. There were Snyder fans that were great that just got pushed out, that were accused of not being real fans. And what's funny is that the nice ones, the positive ones, were the ones that had more access to people like Zack Snyder and Ray Porter. So I mean, I still enjoy the movies. I still like Man of Steel. I like the Snyder Cut. I do like Zack's other movies like Dawn of the Dead, 300, and Watchmen. Although Rebel Moon I thought was garbage. I saw Rebel Moon. So boring, garbage. But that's just my thing on the matter about the Snyder fans. Not all of them are bad, but it's just like I think there's just different branches at this point, and I think a lot of the positive ones have moved on, and they either support what James Gunn's doing or they don't care what James Gunn is doing, but they're not gonna like retweet restore the Snyderverse regardless. So let's get into the Spider-Man stuff. As I was saying before, I saw that the Spider-Man stuff. As I was saying before, it seems like because the trades are talking about what might happen, what's going to happen beginning of Spider-Man Brand New Day. I have something from Entertainment Weekly that I'm about to share. Let me just find it real quick. Let me just share the screen. Okay, so what we learned from Spider-Man Brand New Day. Hold on. Script pages, new suit. Hold on. I don't want Devil Wears Prada ad. I hate these ads. Close that. I don't want to get copyright. I don't know if I can get copyrighted. What we learned from Spider-Man Brand New Day, script pages, new suit, opening scene, and more, and exclusive. So, can I enlarge this? No. But I'll just do what the article says. As the title suggests, it's a brand new day for Spider-Man. Tom Holland's web-slinging Peter Parker returns in this summer's event movie. Only this time, no one in the world has any memory of who he is. A nasty side effect, curiously, of the multiverse tampering of the last installment, Spider-Man No Way Home. So where does the friendly neighborhood wall call go from here? Uh, yeah, I heard about that. Yeah, it was a smart choice by Disney. Like, yeah, we're gonna talk more about Disney and Star Wars after this, mostly about Mandalorian, but yeah, they dodged a bullet on this one. So, director Destin Daniel Cretton answers that and then some. Ahead of the big theatrical release in July, the filmmaker exclusively shares 3 script pages from Spider-Man Brand New Day. So the director himself was allowed to do this, and he did it. It's not a scooper hiding it behind a paywall or saying stuff that the director nor the studio wants out. See, this is okay if the director just wants to reveal a few extra things and the studio gives the okay. That's one thing. But just outright leaking stuff that clearly the studio either wants to be kept a secret or is likely not true is just wrong. It's wrong for 2 reasons. It's wrong because if it's not true, you're just giving fans hope or you're just lying to them. And if you are revealing something that is true, well, you're just outright spoiling the movie and ruining the fun of it. I said it last week. Could you imagine if scoopers were common back in 2017 when Spider-Man Homecoming came out and scoopers revealed that the Vulture was not only gonna be Liz Allen's dad or Adrian Toomes that was gonna be Liz's dad. Well, I jumbled that up, but you get the idea. Or in 2019, we'll even go there because this is right before the scooping war began. Like the scooping game, I think, began with COVID in 2020. It picked up steam in 2021, I think, but it started off in 2020. So let's start a year before it happens. Spider-Man Far From Home. It's revealed that J.K. Simmons is going to be playing J. Jonah Jameson. That was a big surprise in the post-credit scene of Spider-Man Far From Home. Or we can even use Star Wars as the example. Or let's just say it's revealed that a scooper leaks out in Force Awakens that Han Solo dies. Like, there's no fun in that. Don't you want to? You want to be caught by surprise. And plus, this is just really the beginning, and it's not like he's revealing something that's outright big in the beginning. We're gonna reveal what it is. So, the opening scenes, along with annotations from himself, Holland, Zendaya, Brett Pollock, who was the director of photography. So there's going to be an updated opening Marvel logo. Certain Marvel movies, I like when certain movies do the updated Marvel logos because usually the logos kind of show the same thing. They changed it up a bit after Phase 3. Like there's certain ones that do change it up a bit. Like I remember Captain Marvel, they did theirs dedicated to Stan Lee because Captain Marvel was the first MCU movie to come out after Stan Lee passed away. Um, Black Panther, they changed it after Chadwick Boseman passed away. Yeah, they need to update the logos every new movie. That I agree with that. And I like that the last few MCU movies definitely changed it up a bit. Like people give flack to Captain America Brave New World, which I understand. It wasn't that great of a movie, but I really did like what they did with them with the opening Marvel Studios thing. Yeah, I also liked how the other movies did as well. Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four, the first steps. Deadpool Wolverine, like it kind of had the typical Marvel one, but you saw Deadpool in there a few times from the first two Deadpool movies. He's honestly, I think it would have they should have just done Deadpool and Wolverine, not showed the other Marvel characters, because I think that would have been neat to see. And it's like it's focused on them. But let's see what this Marvel opening is gonna be. So longtime watchers are familiar. I don't need to read that part. So according to a script annotation from Cretin, and the footage is going to show memories Peter no longer shares with MJ, Ned, and Aunt May. So, I mean, obviously, MJ and Ned no longer remember him, but Aunt May died in No Way Home. Now, obviously, if she was alive, she probably wouldn't have memory of her nephew, which would even make it sadder. So I kind of get I kind of get adding Aunt May because at first when I heard about this, I was like, well, Aunt May's not around anymore. I mean, it looks like the focus is going to be MJ and Ned coming back into Peter's life, not knowing who he is. So maybe it should just be more of a focus on MJ and Ned. But if you looked at some of the early filming photos they showed of Peter going to a grave, you know it was Aunt May's grave. Um, One thing from the first trailer showed him putting flowers on a grave, which was obviously Aunt May's grave. So Aunt May's death is still going to be lingering in there. So I understand. Now, the opening scene involves Peter completely alone for the first time. This is the no hero MJ. Can we enlarge that? Should I read that? I can only see some of it. So basically, Peter writes, "Hi, my name is Peter Parker, and you don't remember me, but I have something to tell you that's going to sound crazy." I mean, to be fair, if someone, it probably will sound crazy, but it's the truth, and I know you're going to believe me because you're very good at. I can't tell what that is. I think that's at telling when I'm lying. We used to know each other. We were together, but something bad was going to happen to the whole world, and the only way I think it says to clean it, fix it, was to make everyone forget. I can't read the rest of it, but basically, he's trying to explain to her that they knew each other and explain the reason why. So let's get out of that. So apparently, this is going to be 9 months after the events of the ending shot from No Way Home with Peter in his new apartment. Now, I think there's a little bit of confusion that fans have. Like, I think some people think the whole movie is taking place 9 months after the events of No Way Home. I think this is where some fans are confused because I saw some people on social media saying, "Oh, the movie's taking place like less than a year after what happened in No Way Home." No, the opening takes place 9 months after the events in No Way Home. But anyways, he develops some unhealthy living patterns and it's taking a toll on him. I mean, I imagine he's not really socializing with one. I doubt he's going out of his way to make new friends because if you're not going to tell the people that mean the most to you that's still alive who you are, like he didn't even tell Happy at the graveyard. It's like you could at least maybe have told Happy Hogan, like Happy's an adult, he's got stark resources to protect himself, but Peter, he's not telling anyone who he is. Afraid that all he's just gonna do is bring danger and chaos to their lives. I mean, a Jean Grey, Spider-Man, MJ love triangle, that'd be interesting. Although I'll be fair because I'm not buying into what the Scoopers are saying yet. I'm not gonna officially confirm that Sadie Sink is playing Jean Grey yet. Although, regardless of who her character is gonna be, that would be interesting. But back to Brand New Day. Peter's not gonna go out of his way to make new friends. You know, he's not gonna go out of his way to make friends with anyone that's his age that's in his apartment that might invite him over for an Xbox night. Or well, it's Sony, so they probably be doing a PlayStation night if they want to promote their product, or hang out with the people at the local bookstore if he wants to read a book. He's not going to go out of his way. He's really not going to go out of his way to do Peter Parker stuff because he doesn't have an identity at this point. Which there's an interesting question I do have for this movie. So how's Peter Parker going to afford his apartment? He's got to work. He's got to get a job to at least get some money to afford his apartment, even if he's living in the cheapest apartment. I mean, New York City apartments are expensive. I don't know if they're expensive in the MCU. I know in real life they are, but he could be living in the cheapest apartment, but he still has to pay rent. And of course, to keep his strength, he's got to at least eat a couple meals a day or something. So I am curious, is Peter Parker going to have a job? Where's he going to work? And all that stuff. Like, what does Peter Parker do? So, what's described in the script as a small, sharp headache is our first inkling that living completely in the shadows is taking its toll on Peter. Something is changing and maybe not for the better. So, it sounds like, based on what I've seen from the trailers and what this is telling, is that Peter's powers are going to be changing around, probably because of this mental battle he's going to be having. It feels like they're using the theme from Spider-Man 2 where, life was kicking the crap out of Peter Parker, where Mary Jane is now with John Jameson. His friendship with Harry is very strained. He's not doing well in school. He's getting fired from this job and that job. He's struggling to pay rent. He's struggling to keep a secret from Aunt May about what really happened with Uncle Ben. Like, all this stuff is just taking a toll and it's affecting his powers. We're going to see something similar, I think, in here, but this time it's going to be having no social interaction, not having his friends. And instead of losing his powers are going to be mutating. Like, it's been hinted at in the trailer. He's going to have organic webbing. There's been rumors that, hints of Man Spider can be in this movie, but it's not been confirmed. I don't know. I'm not going to delve into that because, again, something Scoopers brought up. I'm not going to buy into the scoopers. And I did hear a rumor that apparently Sony is kind of backing off of the Man Spider plot because they don't want to scare kids. Because, yeah, Man Spider be like a monstrous spider kind of thing. If you read the comics or watch, even if you don't read the comics, if you watch Spider-Man the Animated Series, season 2, the Man Spider, the mutation arc was pretty important in season 2. It was like around the time that he was fighting Morbius and Peter Parker was growing multiple arms. That would be, they should definitely try to do that in this movie. At least do the multiple arms plot, because we've also seen that before in the comics as well. And you can do that at the very least without doing the Man Spider plot. Now, meet Evie. So, did he call out Eevee? This sounds like the Pokemon Eevee. I know it's not spelled that way. It's just like, why do you name it Eevee? Apparently, this is going to be Peter Parker's AI. He's not going to have access to Tony Stark's money and gadgets. All of his tech needs to have been made by Peter. So we enter Eevee, Peter's AI assistant, who operates similarly to Stark's Jarvis or Friday, and she is sadly the closest thing Peter Parker has to a friend, the filmmaker notes. So I'm torn on this whole AI thing for a couple reasons. Number one, it feels like they're still doing some, like, one of the things that was a breath of fresh air when the spell happened was that Peter was no longer going to have access to Stark tech. He was going to do everything himself. And that meant we can finally move on from the allegations of Iron Boy Jr., being Tony Stark's sidekick. We were finally going to move on from that stuff. And having an AI, it still feels like he's trying. People are still going to think he's trying to be like Tony Stark with an AI. Now, I do like that at least he has somewhat of a friend in his AI. He's not completely alone. But it kind of just feels like people are not going to let go of that Iron Boy Jr. accusation. Second thing is, how realistic is him having an AI having? Now, Peter Parker is intelligent. And I've seen people argue on Twitter, well, he's nearly as intelligent or just as intelligent as Tony Stark, as Reed Richards, and that's true. Even as a kid, he's superiorly intelligent. Yeah, he makes some poor choices, but he's superiorly intelligent when it comes to science, and I can believe he can create an AI. But as I said before, how is Peter Parker going to afford his apartment, and how is he going to afford the stuff? Like, obviously, the suit's not going to be that high tech. The suit going to be ripped. There's actually a Funko Pop that shows his brand new day suit ripped, battle torn. Well, I'll show that later after we do this, because some of the toys kind of reveal some things or hint at some things that could happen in the movie. Where at least like his other suits, like they got like dirt on them. They got like battle worn out, but they weren't ripped. Like the rips that I saw in the Funko Pop, they're like the Tobey Maguire suits that used to get ripped up during the final fights with villains. Like that was like a common thing in the Raimi trilogy. So it's like, how does Peter get these resources to make the AI? Now, granted, this is someone that back in Civil War, Captain America Civil War, he was dumpster diving. He still found a way to make his own webbing. But I need the film to kind of really explain how he creates this AI to kind of make this believable for me. To be fair, they didn't say how he created the AI or what resources he used. They obviously don't go too deep into spoilers. I don't want to sound like I'm nitpicking. Maybe some people will think I'm nitpicking. But like that's something that I just like wanted to point out. He also has a homemade fabricator, which is essentially a 3D printer on steroids, something that can be made by Kid Genius. Okay, so Kid Genius. All right, so that someone answers my question. But okay. So, keeping an eye on MJ and Ned. Inside Peter's room are Led's Lego Emperor Palpatine figurine and the coffee cup MJ gave him once upon a time. Now relics from their time together. I mean, we saw that at the end of No Way Home, that he had this stuff on a counter or a table. He also sets up alerts on his phone, one that tells him flowers for May to deliver later to her gravesite, another that notifies him of a social media post from his former best friend about getting accepted to MIT's engineering program. Peter smiles for them, even if he's miserable without them. The stage direction's right. So we saw this in the trailer. This is going to be, I guess, this is going to be the opening action set piece where he's seeing how excited MJ and Ned are about going to MIT. Like we saw this in the trailer. We see Peter looking on, sitting upside down for a metal steel beam, and then his police scanner notifies him that a SWAT team is en route in 15 minutes to handle a situation. Puts his mask down, letting himself free fall, webs and swings away. The music plays, and we begin a montage. Now, I've heard about the montage. I think this is where villains like Boomerang and Tarantula that we saw in the trailer are going to kick in. Like, this has been heavily rumored and speculated that there's going to be an opening montage of Peter Parker fighting lesser known villains that, you know, diehard Spider-Man fans will know from the shows, video games, comic books like Boomerang and Tarantula, but they're not big enough to be the main villain of their own movie. Like they're not Vulture, they're not Mysterio, they're not Green Goblin, they're not Doc Ock. So that makes sense. And by the way, their costumes look really good in the trailer. Like you saw them for a brief moment, their costumes looked amazing. And the new Spidey suit. So yes, Peter has a new Spider-Man suit. Since he doesn't have access, he goes back to his roots and makes a new one, and it's inspired with his interactions with Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield Spider-Man villains from No Way Home. Real fabric, seams, wrinkles. So all right. So here we go. Marvel. So here's actually. What I could have just gone to this. So Marvel flip card showing memories Peter no longer shares with his loved ones. Back to the Future. Peter vanishing from his existence like Marty. Oh my goodness. So they're going to do something similar to Back to the Future. Oh wow. Okay. Here's the letter. Only work, nothing else. So he is going to get a job, I assume. And we'll start when you have gadgets. So Peter, like the first line of dialogue, Evie, can you check the calibrations of my targeting matrix? That doesn't feel zeroed into me. All right, so. All right, here's another one. So Destin, I think we can fix the camera inside the mask. All right, so this is from the script. This is kind of like what we saw in the trailer. Says the post from Ned. Welcome, freshman engineers. First day at MIT. Woohoo. Includes MJ, who doesn't look too happy beyond social media. And Ned's going, come on, MJ, pretend you're not the happiest you've ever been in your life. And MJ on video saying, I can't. Video freeze frames on her blurry face. All right. Let's shoot this on a real phone. So these are interesting notes. I'm not going to read all this stuff with Peter. How did Tom get a hold of my script? Oh, my goodness. Me, very important, Tom 1. Let's create real vertigo. Let's make sure the suits have wrinkles. I think that says Denise. So, new suit made by Peter, inspired by his encounter with Toby and Andrew's Spider-Man. All right. So that's kind of like the opening of Spider-Man Brand New Day. Sounds interesting, but yeah, the montage I think is gonna cover the next 4 years of Peter Parker's life until MJ and Ned come back. The stuff with Punisher happens, and Scorpion, and Damage Control, and Bruce Banner, and the Hulk. Okay, so let's close that out. Now let's cover some Spider-Man Brand New Day toys, which they actually look kind of cool. The toys, action figures and Funko Pops. Yay! I gotta do a Funko stream, by the way. It's been a while since I've showed off the Funko Pops. All right. Now, let me find the thing from comicbookmovie.com. Damage Control toys. See, yeah, they should do since the trailers show there's gonna be some kind of chase sequence involving a Damage Control tank or car, whatever the heck you can call it. They should really make that into a toy. I think that'd be cool. They would end up in the $5 bargain bin. Oh my goodness. That is true. That is true. It's a sad fact. All right, so let's get to find the comicbookmovie.com one with the toys. Because the thing is, when toys come out, they do help theorize. So Spider-Man Brand New Day merchandise reveals battle damage Spidey suit and Salvage Hulk. And there's our quick little looks, and we can see a little bit of Spider-Man tears on the costume. And we got Salvage Hulk. About time. New Funko Pops and SH figure art action figures for Spider-Man Brand New Day have been revealed, showcasing the wall caller's battle damage costume and the rampaging Savage Hulk. So it looks like they're going to call him Savage Hulk, not Gray Hulk, like some people were suggesting earlier on. So, Spider-Man Brand New Day is less than 3 months away from arriving in theaters. An official look at the movie's Funkos and figure offerings have been revealed, as well as showcasing. Hold on, there's an ad down there. I don't like ads. Oh, just ad choice, whatever. As well as showcasing Savage Hulk, we see the wall crawler's costume from No Way Home looking more than a little worse for wear. By the way, this is the one shown at the end. They got to kind of specify the costume from the end of No Way Home. Because for most of the movie, he was kind of still wearing the Stark suit in No Way Home. The end of No Way Home suit. It's thought that the movie will open with a 4-month jump from the 2000 release, establishing Spidey as a street hero in a montage pitting himself against several comic book villains. I'm pretty sure it's a 4-year jump because though the Wikipedia, the original plot said 4 years, so I don't know, I'm confused by that. We can safely assume that Peter will face those baddies in his No Way Home suit before he previously okay, so now the previously confirmed 5-year time jump that sees him transition into the classic red and blue style shown in Brand New Day trailers. All right, so they clarify it. It is going to be 5 years, 4 or 5 years, which I think that's a good time jump. Hollywood Reporter recently caught up with Tom Holland, who said the press tour that we're about to go on is humongous. I'm not going to lie and say that I'm not daunted by the travel and number of events we are going to. But one of the things that I love, especially for Spider-Man, is the movie is all about community. Well, here's another thing. He's also got to have to promote a couple weeks before this movie comes out. I assume he's going to be promoting the Odyssey, because he's going to have a big role in there. Like CinemaCon, Christopher Nolan basically revealed that Matt Damon, Anne Hathaway, and Tom Holland are going to be the main focuses. So I assume he's going to have to do press for the Odyssey. Tom Holland's gonna have a busy July. He's gonna make a lot of box office money because I assume Odyssey's gonna do well. Most Nolan movies tend to do pretty well. I mean, I know Tenet didn't do well, but that came out in September 2020 when half the theaters were still closed. People were hesitant to go to the movie theaters that were closed. I saw Tenet in theaters. I needed to go see a movie, and I was looking forward to Tenet. But Oppenheimer almost made $1 billion, and that's a rated R movie. It's 900 million over. So Tom Holland's going to make a lot of bank this year. All these things that we are doing in cultural events, community events, and there'll be charitable components. We promote movie, but also set light on amazing causes that will really makes a difference. It's very strange going back into it. All we lived through COVID, that was a time when there was no press tours. All the press was done via Zoom or in the city that you were in. It's been a long time since I went on a full press tour. Just excited. Oh, so he does say Spider-Man Brand New Day and the Odyssey are absolutely fantastic, and it cannot be more different. I feel very lucky that we're coming out. They're coming out when they are, and it's shaping up to be a fantastic summer. And yeah, it's going to be a busy summer. So let's look at some of the figures. Let's look at some of the Funkos. Oh, hold on. Let me switch screens. Glam Shot at Spider-Man Brand New Funko Pops available for pre-order today at 9 a.m. PT. On the topic of Funko Pops, I actually got the Supergirl with Crypto Funko Pop yesterday, and I saw, because I bought a Hot Topic, they also had Lobo, who I'll probably buy the next time I go shopping. Hopefully they have him. They also have the Toy Story 5 Funko Pops, if you're interested in those. I haven't seen any of the Brand New Day stuff yet, but I think, considering Supergirl and Toy Story 5 come out a month before, it makes sense that they're going to be out now since they're coming out within a month. So if we look, we got the battle worn suit right here. Oh, the No Way Home suit. Okay, so I assume this is going to be in the beginning when the suit's getting torn up. So I don't think this is going to be. This isn't going to be the a final battle worn out, ripped up yet. Peter with like the more improved version of the suit, doing some crazy web stuff, and we got Hulk right here. So we're definitely getting at least one hulked out scene. I know it was hinted at. I think one of the producers or artists last summer, when Mark Ruffalo returning as Hulk was confirmed, said there's going to be a crazy action sequence involving Hulk, Spider-Man, and Punisher. So we're definitely getting an action sequence, and we're going to get Savage Hulk, which we haven't seen Hulk go all out since the opening of Infinity War when he lost to Thanos on the ship. I mean, look, I'm not a fan of Josh Whedon as a person. Hearing about the stuff that he did to Ray Fisher, Charisma Carpenter, Sarah Michelle Gellar, and other people. But I won't deny that his first two Avenger movies, I love the first Avengers. Age of Ultron, I don't love it, but I enjoy it. But the one thing that I thought Whedon got right was his approach with the Hulk. Like, to me, those were the best moments of Hulk in the MCU. Besides, obviously, his solo film, which most people forget is an MCU movie when Edward Norton played the character. But how Hulk was done in Avengers and Avengers Age of Ultron, kind of missed that. I mean, yeah, Thor Ragnarok, it was kind of the same way, but he wasn't like, because he was Hulk for a couple of years in space, he wasn't like Berserk Hulk. Like, you can see like Hulk slowly calming down a little bit, like being tame, being a little more talkative. They're not like destroying everything every single minute. Like it feels like we're getting back to the Hulk that we used to know. How it's gonna happen, that's gonna be very interesting because he was Professor Hulk in Endgame. If you saw She Hulk, you saw that while he still is prone to transforming on his own, he's also in full control. This does not look like he's going to be in full control. Something's probably going to happen that's going to push him, whether it be, if Sadie Sink's playing Jean Grey and she's messing with his mind, or whatever other character she's playing. If she's playing a character that's not Jean Grey, that's still messing with people's minds, she'll probably get the Hulk out of him to Hulk out. A theory I had when it was confirmed, because around the time Mark Ruffalo returning as Hulk was confirmed, Michael Mando returning as Mark Gargan and officially being Scorpion was confirmed. A thing I theorized was that Scorpion will probably sting Dr. Banner, and that's going to trigger Banner into transforming into Savage Hulk. I do wonder if some of the themes from Brave New World, like Ross turning into Red Hulk, is going to be addressed. I'm curious, like, are recent events in the MCU going to be addressed in this movie? Like the Void stuff from Thunderbolt, when Sentry's putting everyone in the Void, is that going to be addressed? Because that was in New York City. Spider-Man's fighting crime in New York City. Stuff from Brave New World, like Ross being president and all that. Like, I wonder, like, are recent things in the MCU going to be addressed? Because the thing I'll say about the previous Spider-Man MCU movies, they were pretty good with keeping up with what was going on in the MCU, acknowledging past events in the MCU. Like the reason why Vulture became evil was because Damage Control cleaning up, the mess that him and his team were supposed to clean up and get paid for after the events of the Chitauri invasion in the first Avengers movie. Obviously, Captain America Civil War, those events are addressed in Spider-Man Homecoming. Spider-Man Far From Home, obviously addressing what had happened with Endgame, Tony dying, everyone coming back after 5 years, addressing some of the other heroes, um, like Thor, Doctor Strange, Captain Marvel, and also the scroll stuff in the post-credit scene. No Way Home addressing like the rules of the Sorcerer Supreme and magic and all that. That Captain America's shield being on the Statue of Liberty. They're pretty good with keeping up and acknowledging stuff. Oh yeah, and also they had the Easter egg of the Steve Rogers musical that was also in Hawkeye. So they're pretty good at keeping up. So I am curious, like, are they gonna acknowledge things that happened in Thunderbolts and Brave New World? Especially because we did see in Brave New World that Ross turned into Red Hulk. And so I assume because Dr. Banner, it looks like he's going to be a professor at a university. I would laugh. I would actually generally laugh if there's a joke where someone raises their hand and he says, "And no, I'm not going to address the Red Hulk stuff at the White House a year ago or earlier in the year. I have nothing to do with it, and I was not involved." Like I would laugh if there was a joke like that. I'm one of the few people that does not hate Brave New World. It's not a good movie, but I don't think it's a terrible movie. Like there are some things I really enjoyed in that movie. I think it could have been a really good movie. Like I don't even think it's like bottom. It's not a bottom 10 man MCU for me. Let's get back to the toys. It's not the screen right there. Okay, so these are more of the figures. Oh wait. All right. So here we go. So we got Spider-Man and Hulk. That suit looks really good for Spider-Man. And man, Hulk, we're getting this guy back. I really hope it doesn't disappoint. Like this Daniel Craig, and I love Shang-Chi. I thought Shang-Chi was great. I love the action in Shang-Chi. It's one of the few post Endgame, post Infinity Saga movies that I think was consistently good. It wasn't perfect, but it was consistently good. Particularly the action. The action was amazing, and I think the action is going to be great here. I know there's some people that do wonder, will Hulk remember Peter Parker? Kind of like in the comics where he dresses Hulk. Spider-Man goes, "What are you doing, Peter?" And when Peter's surprised, Hulk says, "Banner don't remember, but Hulk does." That'd be interesting. But I think it probably would depend. Like, was Bruce Banner in his regular form or in his Professor Hulk or Hulk-like form when when the spell was casted? Doesn't make me wonder, like, what are people up to when the spell was casted? So let's get back to these toys. Also, we know John Berthol's Punisher is going to be in the movie. We know that that Marvel has also released a preview for its May releases. Daredevil Mandalorian season 2, and the Punisher One Last Kill. I'm not going to show these trailers. I don't want to get in trouble. I've already explained the plot of Spider-Man Brand New Day several times. There's another thing with the toys that I want to show. Let me see if I can find it. Oh yeah, Marvel Legend figures. Let me find the Marvel Legends. Guys, don't forget. I know we don't have a big crowd watching, but don't forget to like and subscribe. And don't forget to share this with anyone that's interested. Let's see. Red. Oh my gosh, red. Okay. John Menthol hates naps for some reason. He keeps going on and on about grown ass men shouldn't take naps. I mean that's his business, not mine. So Spider-Man Brand New Day Marvel Legend figures reveals Savage Hulk's MCU return, and plus a look at Michael Mando's Scorpion. So let's take a look at the Hulk. So it looks like he's gonna have like a lab coat on or like a dress shirt on when he transforms. So here's the box, and it looks like you can change the head. Not gonna lie, I liked the other figure version of Hulk better. Like, it's just something about Hulk's expression. Okay. You can also change his hands. Here's the Marvel Legends Spider-Man. This looks great. I like the Spider-Man one where you can change the hands around a bit. I know because I have the Far From Home Marvel Legends figure. Hey, Blinded. You can you're able to switch the hands on that one. Here you can do it as well. Let's see more fig. See, these are cool poses. I think I would probably get this. So this is like the smaller figure Hulk. Like these are the figures that are probably more meant for kids. Okay, so alongside Marvel's also releasing a series of action verse figures geared towards a slightly younger audience. Yeah, that's a given. We have a look at Michael Mando's Scorpion design. He's wearing a heavily armored suit in the film. Okay, so I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if it's because it's like an action verse figure, it's not a Marvel Legends figure. I'm not crazy about this design. Yeah, I want a Punisher figure too. I would buy the Punisher figure if they had one. But I'm not crazy about this Scorpion design. Maybe because this isn't a Legends figure, but I'm not crazy about this. I'm not really crazy about this. I'm not crazy about how the tail looks. I'm not crazy about the color scheme. Not crazy about the helmet. I mean, the trailer kind of shows he's going to lose the helmet at some point, probably, because you see Michael Mando's face. Like, the thing I was looking forward to the most about Brand New Day, I was looking forward to Scorpion because Scorpion was long overdue. They were finally going to address that homecoming post-credit scene. So it's like, I hope Scorpion doesn't disappoint because I'm not feeling it with this figure. I mean, maybe I need a proper Marvel Legends figure. Maybe I need a proper look at him in a trailer or like image release, but not really feeling the Scorpion design so far. I got to meet Chip. Oh, congratulations, Blinded. Well, are they going to remove you very soon? What did you do? Did you piss someone off? Listen, there's certain people that you can get away with going after. I mean, I went after My Time to Shine Hello before because not only are they continuing to shamelessly drop possible Doomsday spoilers, they seem to forget that Stanley Tucci, who was in The Devil Wears Prada, was in the MCU. I want to show. I'm going to see if I can find that to show Blinded. Yo, people have said worse stuff though than crazy stuff. I mean, yo, think of all the crazy stuff that other YouTubers that are bigger name have said that still have a platform. I want to find the My Time to Shine Hello post because this was kind of funny, and people are roasting them. I want to find the post because yeah, oh the core, oh Melody Crack. Oh my goodness, yo, I have not even covered that stuff. I don't know if I ever will. Like I like to go. Like I cover the idiots that aren't as popular when I do stuff on my channel. Like I cover like the My Time to Shine Hello idiots, and maybe once in a while a certain person who rhymes with Garbo, but not today. I got nothing on him. Although he's got to stop letting certain people live rent free in his head. So, My Time to Shine Hello, if you missed the beginning of the stream, claimed that The Devil Wears Prada is the only franchise where none of its leads are in the MCU. And then there's a community note that says Stanley Tucci, who was in Captain America the First Avenger, stars in the movie. Now, he's not one of the leading ladies. He's not Meryl Streep, Anne Hathaway, or Emily Blunt. But he's still a prominent name in the movies, and everyone's kind of just roasting. Because you got to remember, he was the doctor that picked Steve Rogers to take the super soldier serum. So, like that's just an obvious roast that they deserve. Let's get back to talking about toys and Scorpion. I really hope Scorpion don't disappoint this movie. I really hope not. Toys answer some of our biggest questions. but there's plenty of mysteries, like which Marvel characters Sadie Sink playing. I'm curious how Tombstone's gonna look, because Tombstone is one of the main baddies in this movie, and I'm excited to see what they do with Tombstone, because I feel like they're gonna take influence from Spectacular Spider-Man with Tombstone. I really am looking forward to seeing Tombstone in this movie. All right, let's see. Anything else? I think that's it with Brand New Day leaks. I know there was something about a pic. I don't know how true it is. A picture of Sadie Sink next to John Berthel's Punisher in Brand New Day. But I think it was a leaked image that Marvel didn't want out, and they're taking it down. So I'm not going to cover that. I think we'll now get into the Star Wars Mandalorian stuff, because I think people forgot we got a Star Wars movie coming out in a few weeks. Mandalorian and Grogu. It's gonna be 7 years. Almost 7 years since we saw a Star Wars movie in theaters. Last time that happened, we got the train wreck known as The Rise of Skywalker. People forget Last Jedi was really the thing that kind of gave way to crazies in the movie talk community, like Geeks and Gamers and all these other channels. I remember like Last Jedi almost radicalized me. I couldn't stand some of the things. Nowadays, Last Jedi, I appreciate it from a technical standpoint. I still don't. I'm not crazy about it as a Star Wars movie though. But the big concern with Mandalorian is the box office. It seems like Mandalorian's gonna open with the lowest box office for a Star Wars movie, and I think that's gonna include Solo. Here, I'm gonna go to the Hollywood Reporter. Okay, so like I understand that, because after Andor, where do you go from there on TV shows? Because I really think they overdid it with the Disney Plus shows. There's too much. It's like after a while, I just stopped watching some of the shows. I didn't even watch some of the shows. I never watched Acolyte. Had no interest in seeing it. And to me, I can never say Star Wars is dead to me, even if I stopped watching the new stuff, because even if I don't watch another Star Wars movie in theaters again, it doesn't stop me from watching the original trilogy, the prequels, the Disney stuff that I do like Rogue One, Andor, Mandalorian. I even like Force Awakens and Solo. They're not perfect. They're clearly flawed, but I enjoy them. It's like even if I don't see another Star Wars movie for the rest of my life, or a Star Wars show, it's not officially dead, because I'm still gonna rewatch the Star Wars stuff that I've enjoyed since I was a kid. I mean, Revenge of the Sith was like the first Star Wars movie that I fully watched. Like I'd only seen bits and parts of it as a kid, but Revenge of the Sith was like the first one that I fully watched. Like, I'm never gonna stop rewatching Revenge of the Sith. So, and also when I go to Disney World, I do go to Galaxy's Edge, and I like Galaxy's Edge, honestly. Do I wish that Galaxy's Edge would do more than just the Disney Star Wars stuff? Yeah, but I still enjoy the attractions. I still enjoy. It's not at Galaxy's Edge. I enjoy the Star Tours ride. So I'm never. Star Wars is never gonna be dead to me. It's just a matter of, am I gonna go rush to see the next one? I don't go out and see the new show right away. I've heard great things about the Maul cartoon. I should go watch it. I love Darth Maul. I actually bought a Darth Maul pin yesterday. I've been collecting pins recently to put on my bag because I want to be more decorative. But yeah, Star Wars is I can never say it's gonna be dead to me. That's kind of why it kills me when I hear some of these like When I hear like people like Jeremy Griggs from Geeks and Gamers say Star Wars is dead to me, even though they're listing all this stuff that they enjoy, it's like I have not seen the Star Wars hotel video. No, I haven't seen that yet. Blinded. I know they like opened the hotel for a short time and then they closed it. I heard it was crazy expensive. I heard it was crazy. Like Disney World, going to Disney World is crazy expensive enough, but this was gonna be even more expensive. But it's like to me, is any franchise that dead to you where you wouldn't even watch the previous movies? Like, for example, people that say, "Oh, I'm done with the MCU. MCU's dead." It's like, but is that going to stop you from watching the MCU movies you enjoyed in the first three sagas? Is it really going to stop you from watching the OG in the first Iron Man? Like Last Jedi made poor choices, but those poor choices didn't ruin the original trilogy for me or even Force Awakens. The Flash movie, the weird choices that made did not ruin Michael Keaton Batman for me or any of the other previous DC EU movies that I did enjoy. Like Transformers The Last Night, which was all over the place, and Transformers Age of Extinction, those messy sequels. It did not ruin Transformers for me. I still enjoy the Transformers cartoons. I still like the first Michael Bay movie and Dark of the Moon. No matter how bad something gets or a pattern of bad things that keep coming out, it's not ruining it for me. Like, despite those bad Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies from 2014, 2016, it did not ruin the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle stuff that I did enjoy, like the 1990s movie, which I love, or the 2003 cartoon, or the 1987 cartoon, or the cartoon that was going on at the time on Nickelodeon, the 2012 cartoon, which I thought was excellent. Like, personally, that's my favorite Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon. And even though the newer Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle cartoons I don't think are that great, although I did like the movie that came out in 2023, doesn't ruin what I enjoyed with the 2012 one. To me, if a franchise is just not going the right way, I'll just go back and just rewatch the stuff from that franchise that I enjoyed. That's just me. And to anyone that says like, well, you're not a true fan. Are you a true fan if you give up on your franchise or if you let the poor choices ruin what you did love? Like, even though I like Toy Story 4, I know some people don't like Toy Story 4. There's some people that don't think Toy Story 5 should exist. Regardless of that, those fans don't let it ruin the first three Toy Story movies for them. Heck, people that love Toy Story 4 but don't think Toy Story 5 should exist, regardless of what's going to happen, they're not going to let ruin Toy Story 4 for them or the other movies for them. So that's just kind of like my whole thing with the kind of being dead. I am curious, how long, Blinded, if you're still in the chat, how long was this thing even open for? I don't even think it was open that long, like a year or less. Let me see if I can find the box office, because Mandalorian's not going to have a good box office. Mandalorian Grogu tracking for $80 million launch. Don't forget, this is directed by Jon Favreau. I don't know why I was thinking Dave Filoni was directing it. I don't know why I thought that. Because I think he's supposed to direct a movie with like Mandalorian, Ahsoka, and all that. I don't know when. No, thanks. So it's going to open with an $80 million range at the domestic box office over the long 4-day Memorial Day weekend. So it's coming out Memorial Day weekend, which you would think that would be a busy month to, not busy month, a busy weekend to watch movies. You know, people have off from school on Monday. So holiday weekend. If the weather's not that good out, more people go out to the movies. Weather's too hot because that's when nice weather happens. You want to go to the movies. So while it's going to be the first Star Wars film on the big screen since COVID, it doesn't face the same pressure that a title in the core franchise would, such as 2019 Rise of Skywalker, which opened to 173 million. Right. That also opened in December around, like, not too far from the holidays. So also we got Star Wars Starfighter with director Sean Levy and Ryan Gosling. All right, let's see what else. Last year's Memorial Day tentpole was Tom Cruise's Mission Impossible: Final Reckoning, depth of 79 million. In 2018, Solo Star Wars movie opened to 84 million over the 3 Memorial Day weekend and 104 million for the next 4 days. So, May 4th, which is tomorrow, May the 4th. So, early happy Star Wars Day. The marketing campaign is going to go on overdrive and they will show 25 minutes of footage of the movie in select IMAX theaters across the globe. I think that's a bit excessive to show 25 minutes. I don't know. That's a bit excessive. Like, I know Warner Brothers with Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises, they showed the openings of those movies, but it wasn't like the 25-minute opening of the movie. At least I don't think it was. I'm just going based on what I heard. I didn't see those. I think that's a bit excessive. Like 25 minutes. I don't know if you need to do that. Favreau, also creator, directed the movie from a script he co-wrote with Dave Filoni and Noah Clore. And now, as Filoni, which is George Lucas' protege, he is now the creative director of Lucasfilm. He's president and chief creative officer with Kathleen Kennedy departing. Now, I'm going to flat out say this right now. You know, we're talking about like how Last Jedi set the fandom on fire nearly 9 years ago. Can you believe next year it's going to be a decade since Last Jedi came out? That's crazy. I feel like with Mandalorian, this is what I see happening. If Mandalorian doesn't do well at the box office and or gets mixed negative reviews, Kathleen Kennedy's going to get the blame for this. Because, you know, I think this and Starfighter are like the last 2 Star Wars movies she's going to get that she was president for that got done filming. If they do well, if this does well, you know, it has a solid box office, because I don't think the budget's that big, so it's not like it has to do $1 billion to make a lot of money. I think the budget for this is low in comparison to other Star Wars movies. And let's just say critics like it and fans are like, yeah, this is the best Disney Star Wars, or some of the best Disney Star Wars I've seen. Then obviously Favreau is going to get the credit because he directed the movie, and he should get the credit. He directed it. He began this whole thing. Dave Filoni's probably going to get credit for it. But Kathleen Kennedy probably won't. And look, I've got conflicting thoughts on Kathleen Kennedy. I think she's got a complicated legacy because on one hand, some good stuff did happen under her. The finale of Clone Wars, Rogue One, Andor, Force Awakens. But on the other hand, some questionable decisions. She butted heads with some of her directors. Phil Lord and Chris Miller left Solo Star Wars movie, had to bring in Ron Howard. Colin Trevorrow left Episode 9 due to creative differences. That's why they brought J.J. Abrams and revamped the movie. So for the movie nerds, I'm currently working on an article about Colin Trevorrow's original Duel of the Fates. And from what I've learned about so far, I'm not going to go deep into it because I didn't want to cover it on the channel. Well, not on the channel, but on here. Maybe I'll talk about it next weekend. On the next episode, I'll do it for that because I don't want to make this too long of a stream. What I saw, I was like, this isn't perfect, but it's better than Last Jedi. It's good bolts. It's bold Star Wars in a good way. Because I think the problem was that Last Jedi tried being way too bold and it didn't do it the right way. And then Rise of Skywalker played it too safe, was relying on nostalgia, was trying to play damage control for Last Jedi instead of just being a good Star Wars movie. That was the problem it had. So, let's see anything else. Now, Filoni and Favreau have stressed that moviegoers don't need to be Star Wars history buffs to understand Mandalorian since it features new characters, including Pedro Pascal's Mandalorian. And I understand why they say that because it's kind of like with Marvel. Not everyone that sees Marvel movies in the theaters has Disney Plus and watches the Disney Plus shows. And I think it's the same way with Star Wars fans. There's some Star people that, whether they're Star Wars fans or just casual moviegoers, that will go and see a Star Wars movie because it's Star Wars and they enjoy Star Wars. Some of those fans don't have Disney Plus, or they do have Disney Plus, but they don't watch every single Star Wars show. Now, Mandalorian, besides Andor, is probably the most recognizable and popular Disney Plus show. Mandalorian seasons 1 and 2 I thought were great. Season 3 was messy, but it's not the end of the world. It doesn't ruin the first 2 seasons for me. Mandalorian and Grogu were in the Book of Boba Fett. And while I have conflicting thoughts on Book of Boba Fett, I think the Mandalorian and Grogu stuff was my favorite stuff from that show. They should have just probably made it a season 3 of Mandalorian. It felt like a season 2.5 of Mandalorian. That's kind of how I saw it as. All right. So the Mandalorian saga. So this is going to be between Return of the Jedi and Force Awakens. This is the time period where the evil empire has fallen and Imperial warlords are scattered through the galaxy. New Republic's building up, and they're trying to protect everything the rebellion fought for, and they're asking for Mandalorian bounty hunter Din Djarin's and his young apprentice Grogu. So this stepped in 2019, or like shortly around the time Disney Plus first premiere. It was like around the time Rise of Skywalker. And the series did lose momentum during its third season. I still call Grogu Baby Yoda. Now, we also have Sigourney Weaver and Jeremy Allen White. I think that's another reason why I'm excited for Mandalorian, not just because it's directed by Jon Favreau, and I do enjoy Mandalorian. We finally got Sigourney Weaver into a Star Wars movie. I like Sigourney Weaver. She's excellent in Aliens and Ghostbusters. I even enjoy her character in Avatar. Well, she plays 2 different characters, but I liked her in the James Cameron Avatar movies. Not Airbender. Not those movies. So, okay. Now, another thing I want to share about Mandalorian. So, some people on Twitter are saying this is low for a Star Wars movie, but considering that it's tackling Star Wars property that is only on streaming, that's a TV show, it sort of makes sense. Like this isn't part of the Skywalker saga. This isn't Star Wars Episode 10 or Star Wars Episode 6.5. You know what I'm saying? It's not like an episodic thing. I think this is more in line with the Rogue One and Solo Star Wars story kind of thing, where it's own adventure in between different trilogies. This is in between the original trilogy and the sequel trilogy. Kind of like how, Rogue One and Solo were happening between the prequel trilogy and the original trilogy. But the thing is, I don't think there's really anything coming out that's gonna give it a run for its money. I'm gonna look and see what's coming out in the rest of May and June. So I'm just gonna look at that real quick. Uh, let's see. All right. So here's the Wikipedia list of movies that are coming out. So Devil Wears Prada 2 just came out this weekend. I think also there was an Animal Farm movie that came out. Oh, that's weird. So Devil Wears Prada probably like the one big thing. I think the Super Mario Galaxy movie will calm down by then. I know it's still making money. I heard like it's getting closer to making $1 billion. So, but I don't think like it's gonna be making big money in a matter of weeks. So, Mortal Kombat 2 and The Sheep Detective. I don't think these are gonna make big money. Let's see. There's really no big competition beforehand. So Mandalorian and Grogu, there's really no big competition that opening weekend. Now let's see the following weekend. Okay, so nothing really significant the the following weekend, the 29th. So June 5th. So June 5th, we kind of got a couple things that I can see doing slightly well. We got Masters of the Universe. We've got Scary Movie 6. Well, it's just called Scary Movie. I don't know how much. I don't think Scary Movie is going to make big money. It doesn't need to because it's got a low budget. Master of the Universe, I'm very curious about, like if that's going to have good legs or not. So then we got. Uh, I'm curious about Disclosure Day, the upcoming Steven Spielberg movie. That's the 12th. So 19th is going to be Toy Story 5. So it's going to be like almost a month, which I feel like is usually when a movie starts to dwindle down in the box office. And Supergirl comes out the 26th. So I think Mandalorian, the interesting thing is Mandalorian doesn't have big competition. And even movies that I can see doing well their opening weekend, I don't think we'll be making that big of a dent. Like I don't, unless Masters of the Universe gets glowing reviews. I like Masters of the Universe. I don't know how big of a fan base it's got though. I don't know like how big, like how big the fan base is, like how the fans are going to go out and see that movie. I don't know how well it's going to be well received. I think it looks good. I'm hoping it's good because it looks good. I would love to have a good He-Man movie. But I don't know like how big it's going to do at the box office. Now, before I end this stream, because I'm not going to go the full 2 hours today, there's not a whole lot to talk about. I do want to cover something interesting about like Star Wars. And I think this could play a role in what's going on with this box office. So Star Wars. By the way, anyone going to be watching these game sevens tonight? All I'm saying is I'm glad my Knicks did well. Okay, I'm trying to find it. Because Let's see. I'm trying to find it. Hold on, because there was a post that was made that I think is kind of interesting and does make me wonder with Star Wars and what's going on. While I'm looking for it, I'm gonna kind of share what some of it's about. So basically, there it's about focus groups. Okay, I found it. I'm gonna share it. So, someone named Nick Field said there's a tough focus group for Star Wars as 5, 17, 8 year olds show no interest in the Mandalorian and Grogu. This is on Puck News, I think. So, how are we feeling about Star Wars? So, someone named Jacob says, I like the old stuff, but the new stuff, nah. I'm not too excited for The Mandalorian. I never watched it personally. Anything that came out after I was born isn't that great. Oh, wow. So, these are some newer, younger fans that don't like the new stuff that was coming out when they were growing up. Interesting. I mean, for a lot of us young Star Wars fans, yeah, we love the original trilogy, but we also grew up with the prequels. But I like the prequels. Attack of the Clones has actually grown on me. So Wyatt says Star Wars has been quiet lately, but I liked Andor a lot. Was the new one that there gets interrupted? So someone named Elise says Baby Yoda is creepy. At the Oscars, he looks like an animatronic. Well, I hate to break it to you, but Elise continues saying, but in Project Hail Mary, Rocky looked like he was an actual entity that could be part of the movie, and it didn't take me out of it. But I'm watching a trailer for Mandalorian and Grogu. I'm like, this is taking me out how bad it is. I mean, like, I think they're using a real animatronic for Baby Grogu, so I think it kind of makes sense. But, like, I saw Project Hail Mary. I did a review on it. I talked about how top notch the puppeteer work for Rocky was. And by the way, Project Hail Mary, I think it made 600 million worldwide. Thank goodness. Thank goodness people are seeing it. People need to see great movies. Project Hail Mary was a great movie. I wouldn't be surprised if it lands up being in my top five, top three favorite movies of the year. But let's continue. So I'm gonna find the Puck News thing real quick. Oh, the thing from Puck News is actually about a Hollywood report card according to high school kids. You know what? I think this would be a good way to close it out. All right. Let's see what the let's see what the young people think. I mean, technically I'm still young, but I'm not that young anymore. But let's see what the young people think. So, my annual sit down with a candid group of teen moviegoers to share their brutally unfiltered thoughts on the stars and stories that do and don't get them into theaters. From Spider Man, always going to hit to Spielberg, he's no Nolan, to Sydney Sweeney, like, no. Oh, what? I got to sign up for this. Okay, that's a fail on my part. Okay, never mind. We can't read this. Like, I don't know. I have to sign up for Puck News. Get out of here. But I do kind of find this interesting that because this is something that I heard about for quite a while. I think this was maybe even before COVID when Star Wars movies were doing well in the box office. That kids were more into Marvel than Star Wars, and I think it. I don't know if it was Midnight's Edge that said. I know people will be like, "Why trust Midnight's Edge?" They clearly have it out for Kathleen Kennedy and new Star Wars, which is true. But they kind of make a good point. I know back in the 2010s, like that the second half of the 2010s, when the sequel trilogy was coming out, and we were into phase three of the MCU. Obviously, Marvel was dominating at the box office most majority of the time. Um, It seemed like kids were just more into Marvel superheroes than Star Wars. It seems like Star Wars. Maybe this is an unpopular opinion. Star Wars, I think, is one of those things where you can grow up on, and depending on what your introduction is, maybe that's how you get into it. I feel like everyone's introduction to Star Wars is different. Like my introduction was obviously during the prequel era. Um, it was actually the first Star Wars thing that I watched wasn't even a movie. It was the Clone Wars cartoon that was on Cartoon Network, not the 2008 one. It was the 2003 one. It was done by, I'm gonna look up who it was done by, because I know it was done by someone whose cartoons I was watching all the time on Cartoon Network. Gandhi Tartakovsky. That was him. Gandhi Tartakovsky. He did Dexter's Laboratory and Samurai Jack in Primal, like the more recent cartoon. But if you grew up in the 2000s, you used to probably watch Dexter's Laboratory, Samurai Jack. Yeah, that guy did a 2003 Star Wars cartoon. I think that's underrated, by the way. I mean, don't get me wrong. The Dave Filoni Clone Wars, I love it. But the 2003 one's still pretty good. And I feel like kids today, I think it's harder for them to get into Star Wars than it was for us. It could also be the word of mouth. Like I know the word of mouth of Star Wars was kind of mixed because of the prequels, but they were still doing well. And as far as Star Wars fatigue goes, I think there's fatigue of the brand, not so much the movies, because it's going to be 7 years since we got almost 7 years since we saw a Star Wars movie in theaters. I mean, when Phantom Menace came out 16 years after Return of the Jedi, broke box office records, was the highest grossing Star Wars movie until Force Awakens came out. Force Awakens came out a decade after Revenge of the Sith. 7 years if you include the 2008 animated Clone Wars movie that came out in theaters. But regardless, it was like 7 to 10 years, regardless of which movie you consider the last to come out in theaters. And Force Awakens broke so many box office records. It's crazy. So I think people want to see Star Wars. They want to see good Star Wars. And the brand is damaged. Not like fully damaged, but it has been dented. Whether it was how you feel about the sequels or feel about the shows, whether you truly buy into what some people online are saying about it or not. Some are speaking some truth, some aren't speaking some truth. That you're just burnt out of it because you don't know how you feel about Star Wars. Because some people don't know how to feel about Star Wars because they like some things but dislike some things. So I think it's really going to determine how you feel. As I said before, while I have mixed thoughts about Star Wars in the Disney era, I'm still going to see Mandalorian. I'm still looking forward to it. If you don't want to see it, though, that's also fine. It's your money. You can pick what you want to see. And by the way, it seems like these kids that are not happy with the Baby Yoda puppet, I think this does make George Lucas feel vindicated because people used to flack George Lucas for what he did in episode 2, where he decided he was not going to use a Yoda puppet anymore and do CGI Yoda. And honestly, I prefer it because, yeah, the puppet work was great in the original trilogy. It was top notch. But when I watched Phantom Menace and I see puppet Yoda, looks a bit weird. Looks a little bit weird. Yoda, episode 2 and 3. Well, I know some people. I know it was like Jeremy Johns that was popular for saying, like, I don't like watching Yoda fight with a lightsaber. I think it was him that said it. Could be wrong. I honestly don't mind Yoda fighting with a lightsaber. In fact, the even though it's all CGI with him, he looks cool fighting with his lightsaber, jumping around and all that. So I think there's some George Lucas has a lot to feel vindicated about. People are finally more open to the prequels. They're showing more love to the prequels. Not full on love like they do to the original trilogy, but they're still showing some love. They're forgiving him. They kind of wish his vision came back. Not to say his vision was perfect for what he was going to do with Episode 7, but people are more open. So, you know, I still remember when people used to make fun of the prequels. I really do. I remember back in 2012, like, you know that song Somebody that I used to know, like it was really popular at the time. Someone on YouTube made a version of it called That Star Wars That I Used to Know. And now people go back and watch it because like it was making fun of the prequels and the decisions that George Lucas was making with the prequels. Nowadays, people will miss George Lucas and his wacky decisions because at least they had consistency. And now they're wondering what happened to the Star Wars I used to know, but this time with the prequels and the Disney era. But you know, we Dave Filoni's now gonna be running things. Hopefully, Mandalorian turns out good. I'm looking forward to Sean Levy's movie with Ryan Gosling starring in. I think that has a lot of potential to be very good. But we'll have to see. These next couple of years is going to be crucial to if Star Wars still has a future in the movie theaters. But I think I'm going to end it here. Not a whole lot to talk about yet. I think next weekend, I think I'll do. Maybe I'll cover some of my articles and whatever news comes out this week. Maybe talk more Star Wars. Because here's the thing: when a Star Wars movie's coming out, when there's something Star Wars new coming out that I'm looking forward to, I obviously get into that Star Wars mood. So I'm getting in that Star Wars mood. But I also think I'll probably do some streams on certain movies for this show. It's not about movie news, but movie reviews. Maybe I'll invite people on it. So we'll see. But anyways, just want to say thank you to everyone who was watching. And if you're new, as I said before, please click like and subscribe if you haven't already. Share this with someone that likes to talk about movie news, movies, common sense movie speculation and theories, not basing it on scoopers that want to have a good talk about movies. And I hope to see you guys real soon. I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. And take care, everyone. Peace.